There's a state in America with an income tax that charges retirees exactly zero on their Social Security, zero on their pension, zero on their 401k, and zero on their IRA. No cap, no phase-out, no income limit. And most retirees have never even considered it because they see the words income tax and they stop reading. Meanwhile, retirees in 3 other states are handing over $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year in state income tax on retirement income that dozens of other states do not tax at all. And many of them have no idea because nobody sat them down and showed them the actual numbers. Today, I am ranking the 5 best states for retirement income taxes and the 3 worst. Not based on headlines, not based on what your neighbor told you, based on what each state actually does to your pension, your Social Security, your 401k, and your IRA in 2026. This video is for educational purposes only and is not tax or financial advice. Consult a qualified tax professional before making any decisions about your specific situation. My name is Kevin Retires. Every week I break down the tax rules, the financial traps, and the strategies that protect retirees from the things nobody else is explaining. If that sounds like something you need, hit the subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Let me start with the 3 states that are costing retirees the most money right now. And the first one is going to surprise a lot of people. Number 3 on the worst list, Vermont. Beautiful state, gorgeous scenery, some of the best fall foliage in America, and one of the worst places to retire on a pension. Vermont starts taxing your Social Security benefits if your income is above $50,000 as a single filer. That is the lowest threshold in the entire country. Your pension gets taxed at rates up to 8.75%. Your 401k withdrawals, same thing. Your IRA distributions, same thing. And Vermont has a flat 16% estate tax waiting for you after that. Let me put a dollar amount on it. A retiree pulling $50,000 from a pension and collecting $25,000 in Social Security is looking at $3,000 to $4,000 a year in state income tax on retirement income in a state that also has some of the highest property taxes in the Northeast. That is real money walking out the door every single year. And most people who retire in Vermont do it for the lifestyle without ever running the tax numbers. Number 2 on the worst list, Minnesota. I know what you're thinking. Minnesota has the Mayo Clinic. Minnesota has great hospitals. That is true. But none of that matters to your budget when the state is taxing your retirement income at 9.85%. Minnesota taxes your pension, your 401k, and your IRA withdrawals at that rate. It also still taxes Social Security for anyone earning above roughly $84,000. And they have an estate tax that kicks in at $3 million. A retiree with a $65,000 pension and $25,000 in Social Security is paying roughly $4,500 a year in state income tax. That works out to $375 a month straight out of your retirement check every single month for the rest of your life. And then there is the biggest one. Number 1 worst state for retirement taxes, California. The state with the highest income tax rate in America, 13.3% at the top bracket. California does exempt your Social Security. That is real. But it taxes every other dollar of retirement income you have. Your pension, your 401k, your IRA, your annuity income, all of it. No exclusion, no deduction, no special treatment for retirees. A retiree with $60,000 in pension income and $30,000 from an IRA is handing California somewhere around $5,400 a year in state income tax. And that is before you deal with a median home price near $900,000 in wildfire insurance premiums that have doubled in the last 5 years. $5,400 a year for 20 years of retirement. That is $18,000 in state income tax alone on money you already saved and already paid federal taxes on. That is a house. That is your grandchildren's college fund. That is gone. Now you are probably thinking the obvious move is to pick a state with no income tax. Florida, Tennessee, Nevada, Texas. Pack up and go. That makes total sense on the surface. But here's what actually happens when retirees make that move based on the income tax headline alone. Some of them end up spending more, not less. States that do not charge income tax still need revenue, and they get it somewhere. Property taxes, sales taxes, insurance costs, driven by hurricane and wildfire risk, HOA fees that creep up every year. So when I ranked the states, I did not just look at income tax. I looked at 5 categories: retirement income tax treatment, property taxes and housing costs, healthcare access, cost of living, and hidden costs like insurance and estate taxes. Let me show you the 5 states that came out on top, counting down from 5. Number 5, Iowa, the Midwest sleeper. Iowa recently overhauled its entire tax code, and starting at age 55, all of your retirement income is exempt from state tax. Social Security, pensions, 401k, IRA, zero. And they eliminated their inheritance tax in 2025, gone. The flat income tax rate is dropping to 3.9%, but retirees will not even see that rate on their retirement income. Iowa has weaknesses: cold winters, limited metro amenities outside Des Moines, property taxes around 1% that are not cheap, and healthcare access outside the major metros is thin. But on pure retirement income protection, Iowa is doing something most people have not noticed yet. If you can handle the winters, the tax math is hard to beat. Number 4, Nevada. No state income tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax, and property taxes that rank 3rd lowest in the country at 0.47%. A retiree with a $400,000 home in the Las Vegas area is paying roughly $1,880 a year in property tax. That is it. But the trade-off is health care. Nevada ranks 35th nationally with about 188 doctors per 100,000 residents. Compare that to a state like Pennsylvania at 280 per 100,000. If you're healthy and do not need regular specialists, Nevada works great. If you are planning for the next 15 or 20 years and want a deep bench of doctors you can actually get appointments with, that gap matters. Number 3, and this is the one I have been building toward the state most people would never put in a top 5 retirement video: Pennsylvania. I know a state with an income tax. Most people hear Pennsylvania and retirement in the same sentence and they keep scrolling. Here is what they are missing. Pennsylvania exempts 100% of your Social Security from state tax, 100% of your pension, public or private, 100% of your 401k withdrawals, 100% of your IRA distributions, no income cap, no phase out. The flat 3.07% rate only applies to earned income, investment income, and capital gains. So if you are a retiree living entirely on Social Security, a pension, 401k withdrawals, and IRA distributions, your Pennsylvania state income tax bill is $0. Functionally identical to Florida, functionally identical to Tennessee, functionally identical to Nevada. But nobody talks about it because the state has an income tax and people stop reading right there. Let me put a dollar amount on it. That same retiree in California paying $5,400 in state income tax. That exact same person in Pennsylvania pays zero on the pension and Social Security. They would only pay 3.07% on their investment income. If they have $30,000 in investment income, that is $921. Total state income tax bill, $921 versus $5,400. That is a savings of $4,479 every single year. Now here is why Pennsylvania did not land at number one, property taxes. In many parts of the state, you're looking at $6,000 to $9,000 a year on the kind of home most retirees are actually buying. And Pennsylvania has a 4.5% inheritance tax on assets you leave to your children, 12% to siblings. That is roughly $45,000 on $1 million estate passed to your kids. Those are real costs, and I will not sugarcoat them. That is what keeps Pennsylvania at number 3 instead of number 1. But for a retiree from the Northeast who wants zero tax on retirement income and world-class health care within driving distance, Pennsylvania might quietly be number 1 on your personal list. It depends on your situation. And that is the point. The best state is the one that matches your specific numbers, not the one with the best headline. Let me give you a real example of how this plays out. Take a married couple, both 68. He has a pension of $72,000. She collects Social Security at $24,000. They have about $15,000 in investment income from dividends and interest. Total household income, $111,000. In California, they are paying state income tax on the pension and the investment income, roughly $7,200 a year. In Minnesota, roughly $6,800. In Vermont, around $5,000. In Pennsylvania, they pay 3.07% on the $15,000 in investment income only. That is $460. The pension is exempt. The Social Security is exempt. Their state income tax bill dropped from $7,200 to $460. That is $6,740 back in their pocket every year. Over 15 years of retirement, that is over $100,000 on the exact same income, just a different state. Now compare that to Florida. Zero state income tax. Sounds better, right? But their homeowners insurance in Sarasota is $7,800 a year. In the Philadelphia suburbs, it is $1,400. That is a $6,400 difference in insurance alone. Add in flood insurance in Florida, and the gap gets even wider. The pension tax savings in Florida versus Pennsylvania is zero, because Pennsylvania already exempts it. So they are paying $6,400 more in insurance to save zero in pension tax. The math does not work. That does not mean Florida is wrong for everyone. If you want warm weather 12 months a year and your home is in a low-risk inland area with reasonable insurance, Florida is still excellent. But if you are making the move purely for the tax savings, you need to see the full picture before you pack the boxes. Number 2, Tennessee. No income tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax, property taxes averaging just 0.56%. Nashville has strong hospitals. Vanderbilt is right there. Cost of living runs about 7% below the national average. Tennessee earns this spot honestly. Yum. But it has one weakness most people completely overlook. Tennessee has the highest combined sales tax rate in America, roughly 9.6%. And it taxes groceries at 4%. A retiree spending $50,000 a year on taxable goods is paying close to $4,800 in sales tax. That is $400 a month that never shows up on any tax-free state article. For comparison, Pennsylvania exempts all groceries and all clothing from sales tax. That gap adds up fast, over a 20-year retirement. Tennessee is still excellent, but the sales tax eats into the savings more than most people realize. Number 1, Florida. Florida earned this spot. No state income tax. It is written into the state constitution. No estate tax, no inheritance tax. Massive retiree infrastructure. Senior communities, geriatric specialists. Airports everywhere. The homestead exemption protects your property tax assessment with a 3% annual cap. On the full scorecard, Florida wins. But I would not be doing my job if I did not give you the full picture. Homeowners insurance in Florida now averages over $7,000 a year, highest in the nation. In coastal counties, you're looking at $10,000 or more, plus flood insurance on top of that. Hurricane risk is real, and it is priced into every policy. A retiree who saves $3,000 a year by avoiding state income tax and then spends $5,600 more on insurance than they would in the Northeast just lost money on the move. Florida still works. It works really well for a lot of people. But you have to run the full numbers, not just the income tax line. Now here is what changed in 2026 that makes this ranking different from anything you have seen before. The One Big Beautiful Bill created the new $6,000 senior bonus deduction at the federal level. If you're 65 or older with modified adjusted gross income under $75,000 single or $150,000 joint, you get an additional $6,000 deduction on top of everything else. $12,000 for married couples where both spouses qualify. This is brand new. It did not exist before 2025, and it changes the math on which state saves you the most because it reduces your federal taxable income, regardless of where you live. The SALT deduction cap also jumped from $10,000 to $40,400. For retirees in high property tax states who itemize, that is a massive change. If you switched to the standard deduction back in 2017 and never looked back, you need to run the numbers again. The math may have flipped. And with a tariff crash hitting retirement accounts this week, Roth conversions in a down market are more attractive than ever. If you are between 62 and 73, converting traditional IRA money to a Roth while prices are depressed means you pay tax on a lower amount, and all future growth is tax-free. The state you live in affects how much that conversion costs. In California, a $50,000 Roth conversion costs you an extra $6,650 in state tax. In Pennsylvania, it costs you $0 because IRA distributions are exempt. Here's what this all comes down to. There's no single best state for every retiree. Florida wins if warm weather and zero income tax are your priorities, and you can stomach the insurance costs. Tennessee wins if low property taxes and low cost of living matter most, and you can live with the sales tax. Nevada wins on simplicity and low housing costs if healthcare access is not a concern. Iowa is the sleeper if you can handle the winters. And Pennsylvania is the one most people overlook because they never got past the words income tax. The smartest move is running the math on your specific situation. Your pension amount, your Social Security, your 401k balance, your IRA withdrawals, your home value, your insurance costs, your healthcare needs. All of it. Not chasing a headline, running the numbers. Now you know which states protect your retirement income and which ones take a massive cut. But here is what most people do not think about next. Once you pick the right state, you still need to make sure you're claiming every deduction you are entitled to. The $6,000 senior bonus deduction I just mentioned is brand new, and most tax software is not flagging it automatically. If you missed it on your 2025 return, you can still amend. Watch my video on the 7 IRS changes in 2026 that are costing retirees thousands, because I break down every deduction and deadline you need to know. This is Kevin Retires. If this video helped you, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it helps this video reach more retirees who need to hear it. If you are not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you do not miss the next one. And if you know someone who is thinking about where to retire, send them this video. The difference between picking the right state and the wrong one could be $100,000 over 20 years of retirement. Drop a comment. What state are you retired in? How much are you paying in state taxes? I read every single one, and the most common situations become future videos. I will see you in the next.